All right. We have round 2 of the Great Northwest Athletic Conference men's basketball tournament. Central Washington is going to play the Northwest Nazarene Crusaders. They almost played St. Martin's. However, St. Martin's, the 7th seed, lost to the number 2 seed, Alaska Anchorage, 80-70. So the lowest seed coming out of the Great Northwest Athletic Conference tournament in the first round is the Northwest Nazarene Crusaders. Central, being the 1 seed, is going to play them. And in the other game, we have the Seattle Pacific University Falcons visiting the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. Let's go over how CWU and Northwest Nazarene got to this point. As you all know, Central took down Montana State Billings 79-59, and then Northwest Nazarene University pulled the only upset in the first round of the GNAC tournament, defeating the Western Washington University Vikings by a score of 77-75. Western did lead late in that game, and NNU was able to slip away with the victory because it was all ball control. NNU tied it up in the last 30 seconds or so, and then Western's next possession, they had the ball stolen away by the Crusaders, and it was layup, and it was the final bucket of the game. So 77-75 was the outcome. The Wildcats, I think, excuse me. The Wildcats, I think, are past the point of playing quote-unquote weak teams. Because if we played Western Oregon, who lost to Seattle Pacific, or even St. Martin's, I mean, I would feel pretty comfortable that we would win and go to the championship game. But this one, not so much. Not so much. We struggled against Northwest Nazarene this year, even though we swept the season series 2-0. This is not going to be a walk in the park like yesterday, where the game will be over 5 minutes into the game. I'm expecting Northwest Nazarene to give the Wildcats everything they can handle. Let's recap the season series for you. So the first game was in Napa, Idaho, and in case you're interested, Napa is outside of Boise. It's a suburb of Boise. So the first game was in Idaho. Central was ranked 17th at the time. Central won the game, but they won in overtime by a score of 91-86. Now, before we go on, Northwest Nazarene does have a couple of difficult names, so I will do the best to pronounce them correctly. The Crusaders were led by Paul Egwinwo. I hope that's correct. He had 24 points. And then I think these are brothers. I'm not 100% sure, but they have the same last name. Drew and Jamie Essinger had 20 and 11 points. The Crusaders had 3 people with 6 rebounds to lead the team. They were Paul, the name I can't pronounce, Drew Essinger, and Lateef Williams. Each of them had 6 rebounds. Central was led by last night's leading scorer, Jamar Berry, senior. 28 points. Jody Johnson had 17. Drew Harris 12, and Chris Sprinker had 10. Jody Johnson led all players with 8 rebounds. And Northwest Nazarene out-rebounded Central Washington University 37-33. That's not much, but we'll have more about that later on. The second time Central played, that one was in Ellensburg. This game was in February, and Central was ranked 11th at the time before they went up to 9th. Central won 69-61. A little different ball game. It was a little bit more defensively. Game did not go into overtime. And Northwest Nazarene was led by Drew Essinger, again, with 22 points, and Brian Barkdol. Like I said, they got some names that I have a little trouble pronouncing. He had 10, and also Brian also had 12 rebounds, finishing with a double-double. Central was led by Chris Scott. Now, Chris Scott, when I saw him play, granted he's a senior this year, when I saw him play, he was coming off the bench, still kind of learning the system. He had his best game as a Wildcat, scoring 23 points, and Cody Gibbler added 12. Chris Sprinker had 10, and Cody Gibbler also had 10 rebounds to finish with a double-double. And again, Northwest Nazarene out-rebounded Central 34-27. So, that being said, I think the keys to this game, once again, is going to be on the boards. Both teams are very physical, and as I said in my previous videos, Central has a tendency to play a little better if they can win the battle on the boards and the battle on the rebound category. We've seen in these last two games, when they were out-rebounded, didn't really have the easiest time winning. So that's the first thing. Also, Central needs to have somebody step up. Now, you might say, well, that's a John Madden quote, but if you look at the first game, Jamar Berry led the Wildcats in points. This time, the next game, it was Chris Scott. And Chris Scott is he's a good ball player, but he's not known for a 23-point performance night in and night out. I mean, not to downplay what he did, but he's not known for that. So somebody's got to step up and fill the role of Jamar Berry, or maybe Jamar Berry needs to continue being successful like he was last night against Montana State Billings. And I also think the transition game is going to be a key in this game because it goes with the hustle category. The reason why I think Northwest Nazarene pulled the upset against Western Washington is because they were able to run with the Vikings. And Central's fast, Northwest Nazarene is fast. So I think that's going to be a key too. Finally, I got ball control. Like I said before, Northwest Nazarene almost lost to Western. They almost did. But in the last few possessions, they were able to steal the ball away from the Vikings. So ball control, I think, is going to be a little bit more important in this game, unlike when Central played MSU Billings. So the winner of this game will play the winner of the 3-seeded Seattle Pacific University Falcons and versus the number 2 seed Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. One more thing I will add about this game. I am hoping traveling interferes with Northwest Nazarene because Central's not traveling. This game is going to be in Ellensburg. They don't have to travel throughout Washington. And as I said in my previous videos with Montana State Billings not traveling over any mountain passes in Washington, that's not necessarily the case for the Northwest Nazarene Crusaders. I don't know how they got up to Bellingham. But Napa to Bellingham is a pretty long drive. And now they got to go back over I-90 or fly from Seattle to Yakima and then drive over Monastash Ridge. So they've been traveling. So I'm hoping that's going to set some fatigue for the Crusaders. So there's your preview for the Central Washington Northwest Nazarene game. The game will tip off on Wednesday, March 2nd at 7 p.m. in Nicholson Pavilion in Ellensburg, and the winner of this game will go to the GNET Championship game and will will qualify for the playoffs. The regional rankings haven't come out yet for this week, but last time Central was still ranked number 1. So when they come out, I will let you know what happens. Okay, so go Wildcats, and let's take down those Crusaders. Thanks for watching another installment of the Pug Slots in the Doghouse. And please follow me on Facebook, Myspace, and Twitter. The links are below. Thank you.